This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, and verse 18 of the NLT. It reads, "We too writhe in agony, but nothing comes of our suffering. We have not given salvation to the earth, nor brought life into the world. But those who die in the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, will live. Their bodies will rise again. Those who sleep in the earth will rise up and sing for joy. For you, for your life-giving light will fall like dew on your people in the place of the dead." Shemai, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Salakia. Shema, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Call Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem B'chak Double honor to my elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule and teach all time of truth and sincerity. All right. Peace, blessing, salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa'akwat, who are listening in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Gabari Allah coming at you with another lesson. All right. Salakia. And this lesson is going to be entitled Agony, a struggle for victory. All right. A struggle for victory. Now, I have this this definition real quick of agony. All right, it says mental suffering, especially that of Hamashiach in the Garden of Gethsemane, from Old French, agony, anguish, terror, death, agony. And this is what I wanted to get. This is where I got the title from. From Greek, agonia, a struggle for victory. In a general sense, exercise gymnastics, also of mental struggle. Agony, anguish. All right. It says, any struggle or trial, a contest, put in motion, move, assemble, bring together. Now, what I wanted brothers to focus on was that a struggle for victory. Okay. And that mental suffering, because we are going to suffer in this truth. We are going to have to pay our dues, so to speak, in the chastisement of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Pursuant to what I believe that's Hebrews 11, I believe, where it goes into the chastisement. I could be mistaken. Let me just double check real quick. I'm not gonna read it, but yeah, I believe it goes into um well, it might be Hebrews 9 actually. Let me see. Um, Hold on, let me find it for you, bros. In case y'all brothers wanna the newer Akim wanna hear it. I'm sorry, I believe it's Hebrews 12. Yeah, Hebrews 12. So that Hebrew 12 goes into that. But that mental struggling, that mental suffering is what we're going through. All right, that's what we're gonna have to go through. Okay, now pursuing to what? Real quick. All right, because the scriptures literally say that we're gonna have mental suffering. All right. Ephesians chapter 6. Let me begin at, I'll start at verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devils. All right, and how does Satan um attack you? All right, sometimes, yeah, it is physical, but most of the time it's a mental. All right, as we'll read in verse 12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. All right, so we have to be strong in the Lord and put on his armor. All right, that's what it says, the breastplate of put on the breastplate of faith, I believe. Roughly paraphrasing, I'll grab that too real quick. All right, because it's very important that brothers take into account and take in consideration what the Lord is telling us, okay, through his men, okay. All right, let me see. First Thessalonians 5 and 8. All right, it says, this is the book of First Thessalonians. I'll start at verse 5, 5 and 5. Ye are all children of light, and the children of day. We are not of the light, Snakia. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, right? Meaning we have to be vigilant. We have to be on point, all right, in the sense of being on point spiritually, all right, because these people in this world, they're spiritually asleep, they're spiritually dead. But us, we have to be spiritually sober, all right, as it says, let us watch and be sober, you know. It says, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Exactly. This is the whole armor of the Lord. You see, the breastplate of faith and love, and the helmet of hope and salvation. So when you go into Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11, it says, put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay? And that we are just went into what that armor is. Okay, it's not actual armor and you're gonna, go to hell and fight the devil, right? Because first off, there's no such thing as, a place underground where you burn for eternity under Satan with a pitchfork, butt naked, just, you know, ruling for eternity under hell. That makes no sense. All right, hell or is either a condition on earth or is the grave, death, but it's not a place where you burn forever. Okay, the reason why we will be able to stand against the wiles of the devil is because we have that hope of salvation and faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that we're doing what the Lord has us doing. Pursuant to Hebrews 12, okay, we are being chastised by the Lord, okay, via via Satan, or spiritual demon Satan, because the Lord needs us to be refined. All right. So whatever it is that he's testing you with, it's for your own refinement, for your own benefit. Okay. It says, verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Right? And when you go into that word principalities, it pretty much goes into, demons. Okay. So that's what we wrestle against daily. Our spirit is constantly fighting off demons every single day. When you don't want to do something, when you don't want to wake up, when you want to be lazy, when you're just doom scrolling, you know, that's all Satan trying to get at you. All right, because this shit happened to me today. All right, I was fucking doom scrolling. Before you know it, I look up, it's fucking hour and a half went by. I'm like, oh shit, you know, you don't even fucking notice it. You're like, shit, you know, gotta get my ass up and do something. Can't just be in here fucking laying down all day. but that's Satan putting that lazy spirit on you. Okay, the being sluggish. All right, it says against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right, it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. You see that? And it goes into it again, verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. All right? That is a struggle for victory because we are struggling, it's a constant fight, it's a constant battle. You struggle, you're wrestling against this flesh. You're wrestling against these demons in the flesh. All right? The scriptures say what? The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak, roughly paraphrasing. This flesh limits you to so much, man. This flesh is very limiting. All right? So much to the point where nobody has really, you know, nobody can really know the true potential of your spirit right now. All right? And that's for the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, to reveal unto us. Lord willing, we be of those men. Because in the day where brothers get powers, it's gonna be, yeah, you're gonna have these flesh, but really the spiritual power is gonna come from the Lord pretty much uplifting or taking off those chains that those limits that these bodies set on you. You see, because us as Jake, we are spiritual people. We have the ability to do certain things, man. All right, that's why Jake are the best athletes. That's why Jake looks superhuman, because we are superhuman. But this flesh, it's so weak. And the Lord is going to have it so that our spirit is just going to be on fire. Our spirit, the Lord is just going to increase our spirit so much, Lord willing, we'll be those men to the point where our spiritual power is just going to shatter through these weak ass bodies, you know? That's what the scripture literally refers to us as gods, man. Scripture is literally called Jake gods, all right, with the lowercase g. You see, because there's only one true living God, the power, Yahweh, He is, He exists. Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, is the Lord and Savior. All right. Let me see. It says, and your feet shod with preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. You see that? So we have our sword. Okay, we have our sword being the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. That's why brothers refer to their Bibles as swords. Like, yeah, I got my sword with me. Because it's the word of the Lord. You see? It says, actually, that's all I wanted from Ephesians. Now, going back to what I opened up with, which I don't want to make this lesson long. I'll just reiterate the point again and close out. Going back to Isaiah 26 and 15, or I'll start at verse 15. O Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, you have made our nation great. Yea, you have made us great. You have extended our borders, and we will give you the glory. Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, in distress we searched for you. We prayed beneath the burden of your discipline. You see that? Because although it isn't a burden unto us, unto our spirit, right? It's a heavy burden unto this flesh. Okay, being disciplined is a very heavy burden unto this flesh. That's why it's important to establish that. That's why it's important to practice discipline. Whether it be cleaning your diet for a week, cleaning, which brothers should really have their diets on point. Speaking to myself first and foremost. But, going on semen retentions, denying this flesh for a bit. You see, it says, just as a pregnant woman writhes and cries out in pain as she gives birth, so were we in your presence, Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Because Jake right now is in pain. Jake is crying out. You see, our spirits are crying out to the Lord. You know, it says, we too writhe in agony. You see that? We also writhe in agony to this day. But nothing comes of our suffering. We have not given salvation to the earth, nor brought life into the world. But those who die in the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua will live, you see. Their bodies will rise again. Salakia. It says, those who sleep in the earth will rise up and sing for joy. For your life-giving light will fall like dew on your people in the place of the dead. Boom. You know. And that's what the Lord's blood is going to do for us. You see? Because as it says, in verse 18, only Yahushua's blood was able to do that, was able to bring life into the world, and it's going to do that again, because it's going to set Jacob as rulers. All right, but all this comes from a struggling for our victory. All right, but it has already been given unto us. That's the beautiful part about it, you know. So it's going to be a struggle, Akim, all right? But you have to put on that breastplate and you have to, you know, suffer for a bit. That just comes with it. Matter of fact, I'll end it off with that. All right. Good. And that I'm gonna get Second Corinthians, the book of Second Corinthians 4, and I'll just get straight to the point. Verse 17, verse 16. For which cause we faint not, but through our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed by day. You see that? So this outward man, this flesh is weak, but the spirit is always willing. The inward man is always renewed. You see? All right, sometimes brothers be tired. Hey, you didn't upload a video, you gotta make that lesson. You ain't study today, you gotta study. You know what I mean? You got a busy day ahead of you, wake your ass up early, do sacrifices for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You know? It says verse 17, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment. See that? So we are suffering, it is an affliction, but it's only for a moment. Worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. You see that? While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Exactly. We're looking for those things that cannot be seen with these mortal eyes. You know? We are looking all through this whole fucking hell we're catching. We still see the victory. All right? And we still see this is a struggle for victory. It is something that we have to do in order to gain that victory. So Lord willing was edifying, Lord willing was uplifting, Lord willing somebody got something out of it. I want to close out by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim Chakurash, double honor yet again to my elders and apostles of the female son who rule, who teach all the time of the truth and sincerity, peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful, elect Wa'akwath, who believe in truth and sincerity. All right, with that I say, Shalom.